Sorry about that. Depending on my typing skills, it's a good thing real quick. Yes. Thank you. Thanks, Lou.
Take care.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh, wait, you are not
It's
done yet.
5:01.
Wait, hold on.
Good, Leo?
It still says curriculum for those 8 seconds. Now you're good.
Well, I'm gonna say it's 5:02 PM, and I'm gonna call to order the meeting of the policy committee. We are meeting in, the Village Hall Upper Level Conference Room 3344/45 at West 156, North 8480 Pilgrim Road. There is a possibility that a quorum of the full membership of the Board of Education could be in attendance at board committee meetings. There will be no full board action taken at any board committee meeting. Only members of the committee may vote on any item on the agenda. A live broadcast will be streamed on the school district's YouTube page. To watch the recorded meeting, please visit our school district of Menominee Falls YouTube site. Was the meeting properly posted?
Yes, it was.
Okay, super, we're gonna move on to minutes approval, so I need a motion to approve the February 19th policy committee meeting minutes, as was presented in your packet.
Have a motion?
Got a motion
I'll second.
and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that passes unanimously. And we'll move right into discussion. We have 3 items for discussion. The first item is the Neola Administrative Guideline of 2000s.
Yeah, and I have Ms. Revel here. We drafted these in our last drafting session, along with the updates and student support organizations, which we'll get to after this item. Several of these, you'll notice, a lot of these are struck out. And I'll just put a note out there that these are not policies, these are administrative guidelines, which is the equivalent of procedures. So they're important, but it's more important that we already have policies in place for all these sorts of things. So when you see, for example, on AG 2120, the first one, we've already got a policy on the school improvement process that's more than adequate to handle that particular, and the same thing for mission of school, which is the second AG, which we've struck out. So are there any questions in regards to things that have been posted? I think they were pretty clear. Yeah, Ms. Revel did an excellent job of, she's put a lot of time into this, actually all the admin team, but Ms. Revel as well. I know Caitlin was in here last time and we, obviously all the directors, but they've really done an outstanding job. I mean, you know, Amy's done an outstanding job. We've done essentially a year and a half or so's worth of work in less than a year. So to get to the point that we're at.
I did have, here's one that I have a question on.
Okay.
It's 2260D, notice of non-discrimination, and one of the things it says is that the notice will be sent, it said the notice should be sent to the local newspapers, and I was wondering, if we do that, and if so, is that just like the real local one, or is it like a Freeman or the Journal?
We have standard notices, so that's sorry.
No, this is one of, it's one of the non-discrimination pieces, that's one of Leah's.
Yeah,
Oh,
so we have standard notices that go out to the local, and we have a standard set of releases that we have on our website. So we make them available via a set process every year. So all of our notices go out. And it's,
So that's like the, what is our local, is it the Menominee Falls News, is that what it's called? Okay.
Yes.
So it's not any further than that?
No.
Okay.
Express.
That's it, Express News. Oh, I did have a question on 2340D. So there were a lot of them on field trips.
Oh, yeah.
And then this one, you know, is D, you know, so A is, I guess, just to give some context, A is field trips.
Yeah, yes.
B is district sponsored trips, and that was deleted. And then an option C is overnight trips, which we deleted, and I think that's because A has a lot of that stuff
I
in
took
there.
our current
Yeah.
field trip policy because we had done it not that long ago. It is working for us and had some pieces in it that Neola's didn't have that we felt like were important. So
So we have like one big
big
one.
one, and then we're able to
Okay.
eliminate some, but this one was really related to athletics and activities.
Yeah, this has more to do with, think along the lines of, I was a wrestling coach, so I'll use wrestling, and I'm not picking on wrestling here. But when I was a wrestling coach in Manitowoc decades ago, there was a public school program, and then there was a club program. And our wrestling club program, we wrestled all over the nation. We, get in a van but kids were district students and they weren't obligated to go, and neither was I obligated to do it. So this kind of gets into that sort of thing. So in other words, trips, like church trips and other sorts of trips, it's just important to be clear about those sorts of things, which I think this does help with. That, oftentimes the line is blurred a little bit when you get to be, oh, we have a standard, for example, Washington DC trip. And then
That's school sponsored, which
That's
is
just-
not approved last year,
different.
yes.
That's not this.
Yeah,
that's
it's still trying, like even your example with like wrestling, it's like, well, if you're going with your club, that really has nothing to do with the school,
But-
so.
Is
Right,
there a blurred
and
line
this
if
is-
he was the coach of the club and
this has to do with the
superintendent?
staff member.
Okay.
So
Cause I'm
this,
just wondering why anybody would do this, because like it says, should a staff member take any student of the district on a trip that is not sponsored by the board, she assumes all liability for the welfare of the student. Like,
what we,
I'm just
Now you're into D, right, in the non-district sponsored trip?
Yeah.
yeah,
That's one.
That's
so
all- that's
I'm
all.
like,
What's an example of a non-district
I just
He just gave one,
gave one.
wrestling?
like a club wrestling, where you're not affiliated with the district or
Yes.
school sponsored team.
Yes,
And you just happen to have a double dip where somebody is an employee of the
So that's-
district and holds a club position.
I know wrestling really well, and people wrestle all over the nation all the time, and there's crossover with staff members. I was one, I was a teacher, who was a high school, middle school teacher, but also a head wrestling coach at a high school. But then I was also a club coach.
Mhm.
And when we did things for club, oftentimes that line gets blurred. Well, I'm going from wrestling practice over here, and then a month later, there's a club thing going on. That can be confusing for parents too, but this is for staff, that just be aware, staff, that, we have district, wrestling during the school year. I'm using that as an example, but there's other examples, in music, there are other examples. There's school sponsored, aspects, but a thing with music would be music camps in the summer. Though those aren't district sponsored camps, but they're camps that are encouraged and some of our staff may be involved with. So that's an example as well, just to get away from the sports analogy. But there's several examples, actually, many, where you have these sorts of activities. You can go to church activities, for example. There's staff that go to church at the same church that students go to church, and then there's events through a church. And a staff member could be leading a trip through church. Then the word gets out, not that there's anything wrong with that, there's nothing wrong with that.
That's a liability clause to be able to
Right.
call out the rule and
So
the
this
on
is
and
just,
off
this is just saying that they need written permission from you
if it's related to
to,
district.
if it's not related to the.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So if they hear about it and they start talking to a staff member, the church example is probably, wrestling, they're all good examples. That each one of them, athletic, music, or religious, hey, I go to church here and a whole bunch of kids are there, great, you choose to do that, but, if they're talking to you about it and it's something that's out there, we just wanna be clear that that's not our thing, right? They can do it, no problem. And a lot of our staff do, are very active with non-school related sports organization, music organizations, religious organizations, what have you. So that's what that's about.
28,
Sorry, on the field trips, I have one question in the A section. The 2340A field trips. This is because I know at the student services, they just discussed the field trips for next year and going abroad and things like that.
Yep.
And it's the very last line in G. So it's just popping in my head. It says in foreign countries, no automobiles will be used. But if students are staying with host families like they are in the Bolivia, or I forget where they're going, somewhere in South America, Panama, thank you. I assume that, I assume the intent of this procedure is for like organized travel.
Correct.
It is not barring a student from, like, they're not running into a conflict with this procedure because the students are going with the host family and riding in a car.
They shouldn't.
No, that has to do with them driving the car.
It just says no automobiles will be used.
So typically when we do overseas travel, we're using public transportation. So the exception might be that host family situation, which is pretty rare. I think that's the only trip that we have. That I'm just not seeing where this is.
Or probably like a chartered bus, like when they go to Hawaii.
Right, yeah, we
Yeah,
don't
right.
we don't want staff members renting
Yeah,
cars
yeah,
and driving in foreign
Because
countries.
that just, like I said,
No,
I
that's a-
thought of it if it wouldn't have been in the meeting
Mhm.
2 days ago.
Sure.
That's a good point,
Yeah.
Jesse, but maybe it should say no personal automobiles will be used, or no.
Can you, I'm just not finding it as I'm looking.
And
What
it's
am
on
I missing?
page 3.
Oh, I see, yeah,
Halfway
I see
down.
it now, sorry, I was on the wrong page.
And obviously you can take that back, it just, like I said, it was kind of just popped into my head and putting the previous meeting and this together.
Yeah,
We can put in a personal,
Right, 'cause
staff and
that's-
students will not
will not operate.
an automobile.
Yes, I was
Informed
gonna say, I think it comes down to the operation part because
Right.
they're clearly using automobiles, they're just not the driver of it.
And whenever possible, we are using everybody on a bus or van, that kind of
Of
thing.
course.
So yeah, we can definitely amend that one.
Which in foreign countries, no staff or students shall use personal automobiles. Operate personal automobiles.
Or just automobiles.
I think just automobiles.
I don't personally plan to bring a car to Panama, however, I think the issue,
or you going?
right, I don't, hope my kids are in German.
Oh, sorry, I shouldn't ask.
No,
Sorry.
I wish.
I stayed with the host
I've heard it's an
family.
amazing
Yeah, I
trip.
went to France in high school on a trip and we stayed with host families and we were in their cars and
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I just had one more, this one's labeled 241, but I think it's the number 24. It's right before 2416 in my packet. I think I think the number needs to be updated.
Oh, school counseling and
Academic, yeah,
yeah, that number is missing something.
yeah, so there's a number missing out of there, and then letter G.
2411, it looks like.
Yeah, that's,
And then letter
Gosh.
D, it looks like you added assist. Assist probably / resolve, is that?
I don't know, this was Mr. Halverson's,
Okay.
so
I think it just maybe
Probably
assist
needs an assist
/
to
resolve
resolve.
problems, or assist and resolve, or
I'll put a slash
some
in there.
kind of something.
Yeah, I remember this when we were drafting. Because
Or resolve.
slip and or
Yeah.
resolve.
and or might work.
I think, I know that, I remember the discussion that we did it. You had the other one.
Before we get away from field trips,
Yes.
2, 3, 4, OF, expectations of district employees and chaperones.
Yes, this is our existing.
Yep, and under B, it says once approved by the district, so I am assuming since I didn't see it called out here anywhere, that is where the background check is taking place, is that correct? the itinerary, once the itinerary is approved by the district, distribute it to all parents. I'm just assuming, cause it talks about chaperones, and so if you're looking for parent whatnot, I'm assuming
Yes,
somewhere there's
With
the
our
policy and it's tied into.
volunteer policy would
So
be
do
tied
we
into
need
Oh, right, that's right, Leah brought that up, it links with our volunteer
Perfect.
policy, where we do background
Background
checks
yeah.
and safety checks.
So it may not call it out here and specifically, but our background check policy for field trips in general would cover that.
Okay.
Or should cover that,
Perfect, thank you.
yes,
And as far as driver's education, we just cross everything out because we don't teach it.
correct.
Right,
Okay, so we're just getting rid of this.
We didn't accept the policy, we're not accepting
Okay.
it.
Curriculum.
So, like on this one and similar ones, so we, like the field trip one, where we just accepted ours, if you go to the bottom or the end of it, are we gonna still, like when this is all adopted, are you still gonna have SDMF procedure 352 referenced there? Or is that
I
just like,
think that's just his reference to connect as we're drafting, I don't
Ah,
take.
I'll write a note, you and I are
Yes.
talking tomorrow and
Okay.
Monday.
cause that's
Because
in
we-
quite a few, you know, like the field trip one, and again, those numbers will be pretty much meaningless after
Yep.
all
Right.
of this, so.
But they're they are helpful now, so. Yes, that's a great question, so.
Yeah, Dr. Thompson actually just talked to me maybe an hour ago. We're meeting tomorrow, we're meeting on Monday, I don't have to start typing this up for the final resolution meeting. Any other questions on AGs?
I had a question if you guys have done.
Go ahead.
For 25, 21, I just had a few questions on the changes that were made between 361 and what's in this packet.
Okay.
Is
Is that 25-21A?
yes, 21A, I'm sorry.
Okay.
In the, I guess the preamble, so I like the core curriculum adopted by the Board of Education will always be the primary material source for instruction. There will be limited time for the which educators use discretion to select materials to supplement the core curriculum. So that was obviously a bit lengthier than what currently is, but I think that's nice to call out the
I was gonna say, we tried to get a little more clear in a couple spots, just to,
no, I think that was good.
Okay.
And then under the, I guess the general criteria, there's teachers, instructors will select material to support and enrich, not circumvent the curriculum. You could tell me that maybe this is being too nitpicky, but is not circumvent to, I guess, is that negative? It feels very like, to me, I thought it was more, I understand the intent of like, and kind of what it says above, right? Like, the curriculum is primary,
right,
I don't know, I read that in a very negative, like, you can bring things, but you can't like,
Well,
circumvent.
remember, there's still a policy that's supported about making sure that any supplemental material does align to curriculum being taught in class, and typically that has a review. So I think this is just reinforcing the fact that you've got to follow the review process. Am I correct?
yes, and it's not an intent to be an exchange or a substitute.
I see, okay, okay, so the intent there is,
Yeah, I read it as not supplanting curriculum. You know, when I was teaching,
is supplanting a better? I don't wanna get too nitpicky with words, but
Yeah,
I don't know, to me circumvent felt
felt
like
negative,
more of a negative connotation to it.
I think it's okay.
I'm open to other ideas.
There was a clause in the current 361, the sexual content and profanity. There's a statement, and I think it comes from Wisconsin state statute, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Likely.
Where we said, in the current 361, it says the particular content will not be excluded based on a particular use of a word or phrase alone if the word or phrase is used specifically in the context of advancing a legitimate literary, artistic, political, scientific, or social issue. and that was completely struck from
Oh,
what we ended here, and I thought that statement was,
I
and I,
don't recall striking that, so I wonder if that, so we did have to transform, you know, put things into Neola, so perhaps something
especially when you get to
got
like
lost. Let me look.
Civil War era literature, there's books with rather colorful language, but that is important to have that colorful language sometimes.
Let me,
The language here is on the second page. Criteria for selection of material, sexual content, profanity.
And then it goes to like the elementary, there you can't have any, in the middle school, high school, but in the currently approved 361, there's a statement after that says what I just, that lengthy thing I just read. I didn't know.
find it.
I thought that was an important call out, that a single, you know, or a particular statement could still have academic merit.
So is it like number 5, like where does it belong?
So I don't have the current I made myself a side by side because, or a summary of what was deleted because of, I was just trying to track everything. But I believe it goes right under, in the current 361, I think it's right under,
Sounds like
under
it.
right here. There's the ABC for elementary, secondary, and then there's that,
Paragraph.
Oh, as it relates to sexual content, the district, no,
No,
district human
it's,
growth development?
particular
Particular
content
content will
yes,
not be.
will not be excluded based on particular
Yeah,
use of
that should
words.
still be in there, so our copy and paste job may have
We
missed
can
that.
put it.
I would
back.
approve of it, I mean, that
Yes.
should be back.
We can
It
put
should be
it
back
in
in
there.
there, yes.
Okay.
I did not catch
This
that,
was
so thank you for.
carefully curated the first time around, so.
Correct, no,
yeah.
there was no intent to remove anything that had been previously approved, so that's very interesting, okay.
Okay.
I will make sure that gets added back in, thank you.
While you're making a note of that, I did look up some synonyms to circumvent. Bypass, evade, or elude. Any better?
I think certain things good.
Alright,
I think
I-
circumvent
I-
sounds better than bypass, because like it's a tech, you know, we're using
I get it.
good words
I
here.
think that's, yeah, I guess that is, I'm not gonna die on that hill.
Alright.
Then this, I think is, if I'm wrong, the only procedure that calls out like an extra like form to fill out. And obviously in our current posting, we have those forms. But we would not be approved, like, don't we need those forms to approve,
In here,
like,
All forms,
so there's two forms in current state, one is to buy supplemental materials and one is to approve new books. And that was, so I think there's two issues. One is those forms don't exist in this packet.
Okay.
So if we approve this and then we approve this whole thing, those forms are no longer, I mean, I guess they're forms, I don't know if they necessarily need
But are they on
approval.
the policy and maybe not?
They're not in the, I don't think, no.
Cause this is administrative guidelines, so I'm just curious if they're listed in the policy.
did they make it in the policy, that's a good question.
There's links in 361.
Yes, there are links in 361, so I didn't know where there's policy, where those forms are going. And my other question on those forms, that I think I came up before was, right now there's two forms. One is to buy, if you want the district to purchase supplemental materials for you, so you want your class of 30 to read some book, right? And I think the district should purchase this book so we can all read it. So I think that that's great. There's another form if you want to just like bring in a book for an activity. And the header on the form is very specific to books. But what has come up in discussion is that there's no clear form to use if what you're bringing in is not a book.
Or like a magazine
Or what if like a math teacher brings in a worksheet that, you know, hey, I think, you know, the curriculum doesn't quite hit all the right points on this one very specific math lesson. Here's something I made in college and I wanna bring in, like, so I
So
I think the form could just maybe be generalized or,
Did some updating, so what happened to the form? That's what I'm wondering. So we've got materials and then there was specific to for me.
So we need to add that one paragraph that's in there. We need to add the 2 forms.
Well, aren't the forms in the policy? What's the policy that we're referencing?
361,
No, the new
The
policy.
new policy, so
It is
25, 21.
25-21.
This is the AG though.
This is the AG for 25.
The policy is the same.
The policy is the same number.
Just
But I think
A?
the policy we approved
A is-
just says follow the AG. I didn't want these forms to get lost,
We're
Because-
looking it up.
so that's, we can obviously circle back, and then again, I think the forms need to be generalized a little bit to,
Right, and in practice, to be quite honest, we've taken this form and made it electronic so that it's
Oh, perfect.
faster process. So but I can't capture that very well in here, so it really does, is it a trade book, or is it a book, or is it another material?
Well, then maybe what you can do is just say language of forms can be located at blah, blah, blah on the internet, so then at least people reference the
Right.
fact that
Why
there's
don't-
2 forms.
that'd be great.
Why don't we do
Can do
this,
that.
because this is coming to action. We have a few other things to do that are separate from the 2000s. You know, when we do the motion in the second for action, we can open it up for discussion. And then we'll have the answers to those questions likely by then, right, Ms. Rebo?
Yes.
Okay,
Awesome.
because the rest of this I'll handle this.
And then the other thing I had a question on was, it talks about, and it more clearly classified what is incidental use, so less than 2 class periods of time or one-time use, so I thought that was a nice addition. My question was around, so if like, I guess I'll go back to the math example, so if I'm a math teacher and I wanna bring in this one worksheet every year when I teach this specific topic, right, it's 1 day a year, that would then need district approval?
It would, because the idea is, especially if you're a teacher who is, because you're making it a permanent part of the curriculum then.
Okay.
And if, the idea being that if 2 of you are teaching the same math class,
Okay.
we're trying to have consistency where we can. Now, sometimes it doesn't make sense for a group of students or a couple of students, you know, there's some choice there. But if we're bringing it routinely, then it really is becoming a part of the curriculum.
No, I think that makes more sense to me than in my head, I was like, does it matter?
Yeah, I think in the conversation, we really tried to provide that flexibility for those one-time things that are timely and relevant, or maybe for a particular student. We still want our teachers to be very responsive to student needs. But we also just want to be thoughtful that we're bringing forward quality materials and that they align with standards and getting that consistency across teachers. So we're having common experiences with these so that we can.
Okay. And I think that's good.
Anyone else on these 2000s? Okay. We're gonna move on to the next item, which is the Neola 35-1 updates and SSO.
Yeah, for the next 2 items, I'll be referencing, and they're linked in, and I have them in your packets, it's also online. And it's in the file attachments under letter B, 35-1 updates and SSO. SSO is student support organizations. So this process in here, we'll spend about 10 minutes on this, maybe a little longer if we need to. But generally speaking, this is gonna be the format going forward, for the most part. Meaning, this page, the very first document, which you have paper and it's also online as the first document. So it's online as the first document. So there's a Word document here, and essentially what this is, I labeled it number 1, 2, and 3. The first paragraph establishes Neola's intent. The second paragraph summarizes the revisions, and then the actual policies will be provided in addition to this document. So you've already been given the policies, so you have all the policies, they're also online. So what this is a Neola process. So every district, over 300 in the state that do Neola updates, this will become your standard process. So you wouldn't see technical corrections, I'm doing that today, just so you understand what they are. But this one page, this will become what policy committee meetings in the future will be, all right? because it comes right out of a deep meeting with Dr. Thompson and myself, where we're looking at the updates that Neola has done of our existing policies that were already drafted and approved, or at least first draft approved by the board. So all of these things have gone to the board already. And I'll walk through some of these in overview format. Like I said, first paragraph is the intent. So we'll just look at number 1 and we'll do that one, but I won't walk through all of them in that fashion. I just wanna walk through an example. 0100, there's been a revision, so it's listed as revised. So their intent, the policy is a comprehensive list of terms that specific meanings and consistency, clarity across all district governance and operations. The second paragraph summarizes the revisions. The policy now includes the definition of school support organizations, which is a topic of several policy and administrative guideline revisions and recent special updates. So student support SSOs, student support organizations, and PCDs, personal communication devices, that's the summary. That gives you more detail about why this came up. Now, this is done across the board in all of these. Same thing in orientation, and it gets into the specifics. For example, one sentence, under bylaw 0142.7, policy revisions provide new optional topics for onboarding new board members and revisions are not required. So it's just them going through, you have the updates, the technical corrections are easier. I'm gonna flip to one that's a state law that everybody's kind of seen, second page, policy 1213. This is a new policy. And it's new because the law just changed. So usually we're doing updates, and sometimes between updates, like between the time we drafted and now, policy 1213 is talking about me, the district administrator, and something I specifically need to do. So that's going in the thousands, which is district administrator 1213. And in this particular case, it's about Act 57. As required by 2025 Wisconsin Act 57, the updated language mandates that parents be notified of sexual misconduct reports by 5 p.m. on the same day or noon the next day if the report is received on a school day after the end of a regularly scheduled instruction or on a day that is not a school day by noon or the next calendar day. The law is very prescriptive about this. Now you'll see this in a later update to staff, but this is specific to me and something that I have to do. So Neola had a policy update and said it's not required, but it's recommended. And I said, yeah, put it in. You know, if there's something that I absolutely, you know, the law is new and it says I have to do it, see by noon or by 5 o'clock, the next, you know, depending on whatever. So this policy aligns with policy 3213, which you'll see later in the packet. The associate staff policy that now requires an annual notice to parents of their statutory right to access staff disciplinary records. The non-optional language changes are required to comply with Wisconsin Act 57. So that's just an example. And that is real. This is a policy I am recommending that we add in from the last time we drafted. It just didn't exist. And now that law changed and we're putting it in. Their next one, 1230.01, development of administrative guidelines. I'm gonna jump to the summary rather than the intent, because it's more brief. There are optional clauses regarding the district administrator consulting with stakeholders in the publication of administrative guidelines. The policy revisions provide new optional topics and revisions are not required. So with Neola, AGs are able to be adjusted by me as long as I inform the board. And that's the process. So I wouldn't change it and not tell you. This essentially says, if I make a change to an AG, I come here, make you aware of it, and then the AG is changed. Same thing with technical corrections, actually. So that's a whole packet of technical corrections. We'll spend less time on that. But all of these technical corrections, like the law changed, so 21's changed to 25, same sort of thing with AGs.
What does it, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
what does it mean that says the policy revisions provide new optional topics, but revisions are not required? Where are those topics listed?
Yeah, there were selections, I mean, there were topics, and then either you take the topics or you revise them out. I just stick with the basics. Like if they have this policy revision, I put the policy revision out there without any ads. We can always add things as we go, but I'll just give an example, interscholastic athletics, 24-21, which is next page. That gets into NIL and different aspects of NIL, which is actually critical. So there were some changes that needed to be made so that we were in alignment with the existing laws on NIL, which hasn't affected us really much, but it probably will at some point, I'm guessing. Few other things.
Well, but, I mean, I'm sorry, but that didn't answer my question. The policy revisions provide new optional topics, where are those topics
They're
listed?
Put the hyperlink.
They're in the-
Training has a format today, but normally we get this electronically, and I think.
So when they're in the system,
So if you
there will
look
be a
at-
hyperlink on there.
they're here,
Okay.
so this packet, so
Right,
I think we gave to you earlier paper format, but online, they're all listed here and they're struck out just like the AGs,
okay.
so they're all listed here. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah,
I thought
that's
you were-
okay.
I thought you were looking at this.
No, I was looking at the
how to
actual,
use this, or if I wanna see
This is just
what
a-
you took as optional, they
Yeah,
just built this as an
that's-
outline so that you
All
see
the
what
work,
stuff's
all the
changing.
work is in the packet,
okay.
all the work is in the packet.
So final, when we're done with everything, we approve everything, click on the hyperlink and then everything will be listed.
Yes,
Okay,
so everything is in the packet, it's online,
got it.
but it's also saved here, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
I'm,
I'm
I'm sorry, I
I'm
wasn't
clicking on it as
clear.
we.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
So,
I see.
I don't
So-
have the packet, so.
Yeah, this is just an overview. I like the overview because it kind of gets your mind in the detail without just looking at a whole policy. When you start looking at a policy, sometimes you get into you lose the
Well, and
why.
what we used to do, the old way when they were all our policies is we would say, here's the existing and here's the
Yeah.
proposed changes. And everything was highlighted, and sometimes when the committee has done a lot of work, it's tough to reconcile both of them. So
Right,
I like the intent and then the recommended changes, so.
and they'll do that all the time.
Yep.
And Dr. Thompson and I work on that together, so he'll throw things over, then I'll rewrite something to make it more clear from what I understand. Yeah, sorry, Travis, that was
No,
misunderstanding.
that, I worded it probably terribly.
Oh, you were fine.
I spoke Travis, you're good.
A few other just things that I'll point out and then I'll open it up to questions. Especially when it gets to a few of these more complicated ones, if you could flip to 5514. So we have a couple of these like this, and I just wanna reference this. And there were so many changes, I think there's 3 of these, but let me hit the 3 of these, so Neola looked at 5514, which we've already approved, and they went through it and said there's so many changes that we're gonna scrap the old 5514 and replace it with a new policy. So replacement, 2 motions, first to rescind the old, and the second motion is approve the new. So, and you can see it in the documents online, in the paper that I gave you, that's all that we did. That, we rescinded the old, that you've already approved, and then we put in the document that Neola put in place, the new version, which is linked in there.
What do you mean by motions, like who's,
So
we're at,
when we get to action.
Okay.
So when we get to action, I have that written out on the action sheet as well.
Awesome.
I have it written out on the action sheet as well.
I mean,
So,
something like this that got crossed out, why would they cross,
which policy?
well, the one you were talking about, 5514.
Yep.
The new version has second paragraph crossed out, because of the clear and present danger of accidents and traffic inherent to riding personal transportation devices, it shall be the policy of the board to prohibit the use of personal transportation devices by students on campus for purposes of travel to and from school.
A vehicle put in the personal transportation device?
Yeah, when we were drafting and going through the update, This had more to do with,
Scooters,
yeah,
electric scooters.
power and not power and snowmobiles and, well,
Right,
it's not a thing here, but
right.
in a lot of districts, it's a thing, that Neola supports, so, we made the selections based on recommendations, we didn't add anything local.
We just didn't select that first one at all.
Right,
So made the
And the
second
last
one.
sentence of the first paragraph says this policy does not apply to motor vehicles.
right,
There you go. And parking of motor vehicles.
and the board will not be responsible for personal transportation devices that are lost, stolen, or damaged. It's actually the last sentence on 55:14. Alright, so there's two more like that, meaning there were so many changes based on the update, and it's, 50, actually, let's stay in order, 5895, student employment. We don't do that anymore, so that policy will be rescinded in a motion. So teenagers in Wisconsin need a work permit if they are under 16, it's just not a district function anymore, okay? So that goes, and students know that,
Meaning they can't get a work permit at the school office anymore.
right?
No, yours go
Schools are no longer, we're not authorized anymore.
Yeah.
So the schools are no longer authorized to provide students with work permits. Parents and guardians must apply for the permit online, through the DWD.
Is this a recent change?
Relatively recent.
Okay, I just remember they used to have work permits in the paperwork inside the lobby of North Middle School, so I'm assuming that's been.
Yes, that's no longer a thing. But if these are good changes, that's a good, I mean, it's not a thing anymore. Here's another rescind and replace, which is 754002, digital content and accessibility, 754002. There's two like this and the rest are revisions, then I'll open it up to questions. So the replacement policy reflects the U.S. Department of Justice final rule provisions under Title II of the ADA. So this is more of a legal, there were so many changes about this with respect to the American with Disabilities Act, they just went with a whole new policy. So that's the gist of it. In artificial intelligence, and these are policies we've already taken to the board in this process. The policy here replaces the 754008 AI. Policy replaces the current template due to significant expansion and increased language required for legal compliance. That was, I would consider that a legal change that I just said, sounds good, what's the next policy?
So who is responsible for, like, okay, we're rescinding an old and just taking a new one?
Yep.
But if we had like 5 words changed in our old one that we put in there, like, who is making sure that those 5 words, if they need to be put into the new one, is this Neola that's doing this, or is this somebody here
So-
that has to like, who is responsible to make sure that
So
these
it's-
changes are carried through appropriately, and it's not just, oh yeah, we forgot that this one had a little teeny tiny little special thing, and so when we accept the new one, we no longer have our little special.
The best way to articulate it is once we finalize things at the next board meeting, they become our policies with Neola. So when we come to 35-2, which is the next update, that'll be in July, I think, late July, early August, will be the next policy committee meeting after today. Because we just won't need any more for now. That being said, so when Dr. Thompson and I sit down with Peggy, we're not looking at templates anymore, we're looking at what we have established. So if there's an update that rolls, whatever changes we have made become our local template, if you will. Best way that I can explain it.
So somebody here has to remember that, because I know there's at least one policy where we made some very small changes, and it was just called a Neola policy, because Neola was willing to like ensure that, you know,
Right.
like, so even though we had some little specialness to it, it was a strict Neola template, and I just don't want that, whatever that
So
was, I don't remember what it was,
Yeah, I remember.
to get lost, you know.
So in that particular situation, what Neola is doing is when they'll take that particular policy, that was one with Leah, that we had made some changes that she had recommended. They actually took that to all of their, I thought it was.
Well, there is that,
Yeah.
but there is
There's
another
another one.
situation
Okay.
where like they just let us change some of the words because we liked them better or whatever, and it really didn't change.
I think what you're asking for is the version that we have approved.
Yeah.
Stays our version and our footprint, so when new updates come in, we're reviewing it as we have approved it, and
Yeah.
we're not losing sight of the.
But when you totally rescind something and you like.
I'm assuming that whoever has the assignment ownership as we develop these things has a responsibility to do comparison and ensure that the spirit of it is in it.
But it's somebody here, it's not
Yes.
somebody at Neola, so I mean, that's the thing, is like, somebody has to, you know, as time goes on and years tick by, someone has to be responsible for knowing that.
I would assume it'd be the director, if
I
something
was gonna
changes
say,
with
I went
curriculum, then
through
Amy does it,
everything
or
that was
safety,
a
then
technical
Dan
change
does
or
it,
otherwise
yeah.
for me, yeah.
So there's
I did look
local, we essentially are gonna create local templates that are specific to us. They're mostly Neola, like 90% or more. We'll get that percentage is Neola. But the percentage that are ours, we want to, and I get what you're saying, but essentially, once we get final approval at the next board meeting, we're creating our own version of Neola. And our own version of Neola, with the 35.1 updates, is what we're creating, with the changes that we're articulating. That's part of the process.
I have no problem when it's just inserting more words but when you actually rescind something and you pull it out and you say, we're replacing it with this, and somebody forgets that we had some little special, that's where I'm concerned.
Yeah,
And if it happens 5 years from now, who's gonna remember?
yeah, there'll be tracks of this, like we have a background of all of this. Like the 35.1 update, that's something that we're keeping locally as well.
I think it's just important to bring forward both versions so that
Mhm.
people can reconcile, and when you come to policy and you're making recommendations, maybe the emphasis we're putting on, it's not just purely an administrative move, it's an opportunity to really look at them side by side to make sure the
Sure.
honor hasn't changed and that the nuances are still represented.
Yeah, in the overview document, I just thought it was cleaner to put
I
rescind
like
and
it.
the rescind and the new one on the same line.
Yep.
So that if you go to this overview document and you click that, you're gonna see the old one, boom, then you see the new one, and you have everything right here. So,
And we can do that.
and then we'll be keeping this document because this document is owned by us. Actually, it's all owned by us. One last thing, there was
Before you move on, I'm
yeah.
sorry, you brought up 7540.
Yep,
We've already approved this, but under the regular audits, it said the district will, under the direction of school or district webmaster at regular intervals. We don't have that anymore.
we do, that is, position's gonna be shifting.
Right.
Like we may.
Is that wording okay?
The wording's
How we have-
okay, we looked at it,
Okay.
we have that right now,
Yep.
if that does change.
Yep.
That's something that Halverson has his hands on.
Got it.
So that did come up in drafting.
Okay, cool.
One last thing is a rescission, this has to do with what we did in policy 9211, so drafting update of, this is an AG. It's uncommon to put an AG in here, but AG 9211, school support organizations, that's being rescinded, because we already drafted it, because we didn't take policy 9211. We didn't need to because of all the other stuff that we did. So that's a minor piece, but
From
you'll
a best practice standpoint, I'd recommend dating this. I didn't see a
Oh, I
date
thought I
anywhere. So just whether it's a footnote or wherever, just so you have a correlation to the meeting, I think that would be beneficial.
Yeah, I'll do that for both. We'll jump to technical corrections. All of these are law pieces, so, and according to our bylaws and policies of the new 0131.1, I can make these and just make you aware of them. In this particular case, because this is the first time, there's an update about these technical corrections. But if you just look at a couple of them, they're all truly, let me just jump into, I'll just give examples right off the sheets. for number one, and I'll kind of jump around, but I'll list them. Technical correction of policy 141, the Wisconsin statute was added, 120.01 Wisconsin statute, and it flipped Neola from 98 to 2025 because of that change. Qualifications of board members, 0142.2.
I bet they just wanted to they wanted to put something in there so they could change the date on that.
Maybe.
Because it's older than,
It could be, as defined by Wisconsin statutes. There was a
Like, what
piece,
should we add to this?
refresh.
there was a piece in here about harassment, anything that has to do with Title IX. It's legal, so they just made a legal change. Talent development was this gifted and talented. There was some word change from pupils to students, social, emotional,
Yeah,
some statutes.
can I make a note about talent development?
Sure.
There was just one additional piece that wasn't part of their original technical correction that I ended up making. I just wanna make you aware. In our policy originally, we said the district administrator shall develop administrative guidelines. And as I went in and looked at the administrative guidelines, I'm like, I think our talent development guidebook that we've developed and put on our website makes more sense. So we switched, took out
Good point.
administrative guidelines and just added talent development guidebook. So I just wanted to be transparent about that, but
Yeah, we didn't think that was substantial enough to pull it out of
No,
the technical
You're-
correction.
but I
But
just,
it helps to understand that you guys are trying to leverage efficient processes and
Yes.
things
Absolutely.
that meet our needs
yes,
better,
as
so.
soon as I read all of those, I was like, oh no, let's use what we have, so.
Is there a reason the bylaws and policies aren't in the executive content for this meeting? The updates, the 35-1 updates in the SSO are, but the bylaws and policies are not in the executive content.
You mean the technical corrections?
Yes.
Can you see it under the discussion items, under 3B?
I thought they were all there.
No,
You don't see those?
Yeah, it's there.
Let's see them here.
Technical corrections.
on your computer you think?
Yeah, we do.
I was looking under action item, I clicked on the action item, yeah, got it.
Discussion.
Okay,
Should be
cool,
there.
got it. Sorry about that. Thank you for your job.
I'll just jump to a couple of these. The technical corrections, they're changing different acronyms, like for example, policy 5461, at risk of not graduating from high school. EMLSS is now WIMLSS, which is just a change at the state level. Same thing, academic dishonesty, investment income, we had drafted that with Caitlin, 6144, and it's 100% of funds available for investment. It's a nice technical change because, not all funds are available for investment. We make interest on a lot of our funds, but not all of them. Yeah, that's just an example of the technical corrections, but sometimes there's so many, but that's one of those key reasons to go with the Neola, because in the old way that we were doing things, we can hit the technical corrections as we go, but to have them just do them all in one fair swoop and they'll do that every update with technical corrections. Questions? Does that make you jump into one other item? Right, the last item is an AG 3179, professional concerns. This is something that we had some discussion, it went to the board as well, and then we decided to bring it back to committee. Talk to Leah about this, we don't have this now and we really don't need it. We don't have it now, we were just gonna add it in as a template, cause it seemed like a good good thing to do, but it's not, we don't believe that it's needed. We don't use it now. We don't have it now. And, if there's concerns that come forward, we're operating fine now without it, so.
I was gonna say,
So
there's a
that's,
pretty
I just,
explicit grievance process already in the manuals.
substantial,
Yeah,
yeah, we have,
that's what I figured this mimicked that, so.
we have roadmaps, so it's just not necessary. Cool. Action,
Okay, so that brings us to the action items. So the first action item is the 2000, so can I go ahead and just make a motion or?
well, I wanted to,
or you-
we have a motion in a second,
Okay, so
and
yeah.
then
Okay, so
I
I'll
think we
need,
have a few items to,
So I'll need a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the Neola Administrative Guideline 2000s as presented.
Motion?
Second.
Alright, I have a motion and a second, we have some discussion.
I think we're gonna add a paragraph, like we had indicated,
Yep, and supplemental 25-21.
for whatever reason in the drafting process, copy paste
Yep,
was not in there, so we'll add that in as discussed in our discussion piece. Plus there was two,
So that's the paragraph,
the paragraph,
okay, and then there was the two
the
forms.
2 forms, we'll make sure those get added.
so the two forms also didn't pull over, but
No.
we'll make sure to add the two forms in that are in our existing policy.
Yep.
So
Or link
as,
to them if you don't wanna put the whole thing.
I'm gonna say, or tweak the,
I was gonna say, can I
Suggest or
tweak the
tweak the
language and
wording
just
to-
say that the form for requesting a supplemental material can be found at the internet page, and then do we need to bring it forward or just?
No.
Okay, perfect.
I think what we're putting into action now is how to prepare you for full board approval. As long as these revisions are gonna be made, we can.
So if there's a link or in there, is that what you're saying? So you're gonna have in the AG, you'll have a link to.
Or just where to find it.
Yeah, it's on the district intranet, so it wouldn't be something that the public necessarily would.
Oh, it's on the intranet, okay.
I
Alright.
think you gotta say, I think if you said, or just said like the title of the form, like this form can be found on whatever we, I don't know what we actually call it, your internal intranet.
Okay,
intranet.
yes, thank you, that'll be perfect. And then we had a field trip. Just,
The automobile.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, the foreign
Yes,
Driving staff will not operate.
2340A, in foreign countries, no establishments will operate automobiles.
and 24, also 24, AG 2241 should be AG 2411. And along with letter D is assist and or resolve.
Okay.
So with all those additions, which Peggy will get, and
Alright,
the video.
All those in-
any further discussion? Questions, comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that passes unanimously.
You ready to go?
Alright, so that brings us to item B under our action items.
And this would be the last action item to go through the local update 35-1, because the technical corrections I'm just gonna make, I just wanted to make you aware of them, okay? But we do need action, on this, but it is, and we can do it relatively efficiently because we've already discussed them. But I wrote all the motions out, for each one. It's,
How many are there separate?
Oh, no,
and traditionally, this one page, in our future policy committee meetings, this will be the
that's
policy.
the one.
You should, I gave you a packet with this.
We do, we're just trying to reconcile, cause I don't have titles, which one it is
Oh.
that we look at.
Is that the
You can take
bylaw then?
Well, I have the ones that I was given the other night and then now I have what was given today. So,
Yep,
okay, here we go.
there you go.
Alright,
There you go. Alright,
okay, so we're on item B and there's like, there's gonna be a lot of motions.
yep, there's a lot of motions because they have to do with
Okay,
individual policy updates.
No,
We can't just say corrections as presented?
no,
I know it's a motion, I was going on.
zero. I mean, I'm telling you, we're doing like 25 motions here. Is everybody ready?
Well.
Okay. You guys got that? All
We're
right,
ready.
I'm gonna need a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola bylaw 0100 as presented.
I'll motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes. I'm gonna need a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola bylaw 0142.7 as presented.
I'll motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that passes unanimously. I I'm gonna need a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola bylaw 0144.5 as presented.
I'll motion.
Second.
Motion and second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola policy 1210 as presented.
I'll motion.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that passes. Motion to approve I'll need a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the new Neola policy 1213 as presented.
I'll motion.
Second.
Motion and second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that also passes. I need a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola policy 1230.01 as presented.
I'll motion.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. I need a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola policy 1240 as presented.
I'll motion.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor say aye. Opposed? I'll need a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola policy 2131.01 as presented.
I'll motion.
Second.
Motion and seconded, all in favor say aye. Opposed? That passes. I need a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola policy 2261.01 as presented.
I'll motion.
Second.
Motion and seconded, all in favor say aye. Opposed? That passes. Okay, guys, we're getting there.
Yep, you are.
I need a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola policy 2431 as presented.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Opposed? That passes. I need a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola policy 3213 as presented.
I'll motion.
Second.
Motion and seconded, all in favor say aye. Shelley, why don't you just read a few of them as to say I make a motion.
I make a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola policy 5112 as presented.
A second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
I make a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the new Neola policy 5135 as presented.
Second.
Motion and seconded, all in favor say aye. Opposed? That passes.
I make a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola policy 5136 as presented.
Second.
Motion and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
I make a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola policy 5411 as presented.
Second.
Motion and seconded, all in favor say aye. Opposed? That passes.
I make a motion to rescind the first read preliminary approval of Neola policy 5514 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes.
I make a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the replacement Neola policy 5514 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor say aye. Opposed? That passes.
I make a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola policy 5515
As presented.
as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor say aye. Opposed? That passes.
I make a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola policy 5830 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor say aye. Opposed? That passes.
I would like to make a motion to rescind the first read preliminary approval of the Neola policy 5895 as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Pass.
I can do this page. I'll make the motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola policy 6152.01 as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes.
I make a motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola policy 6320 as presented.
I'll second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes.
I'll make the motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola policy 6605 as presented.
I'll second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes.
I'll make the motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola policy 6610 as presented.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Opposed? That passes.
Motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola policy 7230 as presented.
I'll second. Motion and seconded. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes.
I'll motion to rescind the first read preliminary approval of Neola policy 7540.02 as presented.
I'll second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Opposed? It passes.
I'll motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the replacement Neola policy 7540.02 as presented.
I second. Okay, motion and seconded. All in favor say aye. Opposed? That passes.
I'll motion to rescind the first read preliminary approval of Neola policy 7540.08 as presented.
I second. Okay, motion and seconded. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes.
Motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the replacement Neola policy 7540.08 as presented.
I second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? It passes.
I'll motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola policy 8462 as presented.
I'll second. Motion and seconded. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes.
Motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola policy 2431 as presented.
I was on that.
Oh, I just flipped it. Oh, I thought we were like quickie one. I'm sorry. I rescind my motion. I'll motion to rescind the first read, wait. Is this right? We're just getting rid of this, right? We're not, oh,
That's correct.
motion to rescind the first read preliminary approval of Neola Administrative Guideline 9211 as presented.
I second. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Opposed? That passes.
A motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola policy 9700 as presented.
I second. Motion and seconded. All in favor say aye. Opposed? That passes.
And finally, I will motion to approve the first read preliminary approval of the revised Neola policy 9700.01 as presented.
A second. Okay, motion and seconded. All in favor say aye. Opposed? And that passes. And that brings us to the end of our action items. I wanted to listen to more Nobody wanted to hear me talk any longer. Brings us to future agenda items. Does anybody have anything to suggest as a future agenda item?
The only
Policy.
the only big thing I wanna put out there is the next policy committee meeting won't be really till July. So that's the intent, unless something would come up, but I don't see that. Dr. Thompson will be with us at the next board meeting. And he and I will be working on all of the work that this committee has done, including today, and making sure we're packaging everything for that next board meeting, where there's a final resolution for all the policies. So we've already been working on that for a couple of weeks. He and I got meetings tomorrow and Monday to start working on that. So there'll be a lot fewer policy committee meetings in the future, but more of them will be just like the one document, 35-1 document. That'll be the extent of policy meetings in the future, given things we already discussed.
Well, I mean, given what Mr. Munoz has said, I wanna thank everybody, specifically all the staff people who have put in way more work than anyone in getting this done. Not only the policies, but also these administrative guidelines and doing it in a compressed timeframe. So we do appreciate everyone's work. I appreciate both of you for serving on this committee. Shelley is not running for re-election, so certainly she won't be a part of any future policy committee meetings. And Travis, you may be on a different committee, and so
Maybe not, we'll see.
yeah, we'll see. So sort of the end of this particular committee, so, but it's been great serving with all of you, so.
It's been a big lift and I do thank you guys for that. Thank
I
you.
think it's a lot of work now, but it'll be a lot less work.
It'll be a lot less going forward, because we have regular updates, which we're very thankful of.
It's been
This was the heavy lift.
It was a heavy lift,
But
it was good,
so
but even
necessary.
when, to rescind a policy, you still spend a lot of time digging in and so.
Yeah.
But it was good.
Nice work.
Right, so I need one more motion. Who wants to make it?
I'll
do it.
All right,
Shelley.
Shelley.
It's gotta be
My final
Shelley.
motion,
There
of
we go.
course, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn at 5:12 p.m.
6:12.
p.m. Shoot.
Oh, you screwed up your
So I
last
have a
one.
motion. Can I get a second?
I will second.
All right,
I will
motion and
second.
seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And we are adjourned.
And you can still make your meeting.
Look at that.
Really
Lynn.
Go, go, go.
And we
Great
need
job.
to stop.
Yep.